Ow, ow, my ears, my ears, my ears. Fuck. Okay, well, the page crashed, so I mean, I don't know why it's not loading. Hello, hello. Fuck. Give me a second. Try this again. There we go. Why did that take so long to load?
I'm trying to work my team in unison and not always tag out. Super fun.
It's very clear that the devs
Are we
have
at
put a lot of
19?
passion, a lot of research into it.
No comment. No comment.
Cross ups are so fun now.
Oh wait, let me tweet the stream out. Yo, this Captain America art is sick. Some sick Captain America artwork. Daisuke made it. Creative Guilty Gear. This shit looks sick. Okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? The stream. All right, there you go. Nice. Stream has been tweeted. Haha. Nice. Coolest Steve has ever looked. Steve Rogers. Damn, I want to see DLC because if they're doing Phoenix Cyclops, they're gonna do some crazy ass shit. Like, what are they gonna do? Like King Thor? Or like, what they gonna do? Like, I don't know. They're doing basic Thor. They're gonna do King Thor or something like that. Rune King Thor or some shit. They're gonna do some crazy shit. It's some crazy shit. I'm happy they're not doing just basic shit.
Nailed it.
God Emperor Doom. I mean, Doom's already in the game, so.
I think a lot of us on the team at Marvel Games and even at PlayStation Studios and
captions.
we are inspired by fighting games. We're in the video game industry because we love fighting games.
Yeah, the
and we play
captions are
them as
incorrect.
well. So we think this is a really great opportunity to give back to the community that really started our careers. And that time came when we met PlayStation and Arxis and we heard their pitch. We thought, wow, this is really exciting, compelling, bold, and daring. Everything that they represent, maybe these guys could lift up Mjolnir.
We have a series of knockouts, and all
wonder if
selected
she's
leaders
playable.
have received their invites.
I wasn't expecting it. I kind of assumed it was a tag fight already, right? And that's not something I really dabble into, but Marvel, again, as an IP, it's something I'm really, really interested in. So when they announced it, I was like, maybe I'll get into it. Then it was like a 4v4. Getting a chance to kind of play it today, it's different. It is not a typical tag fighter.
Oh,
From
this
the
is
betas
Evo.
and all the talks I hear about it and
This
getting
is
the
Evo.
chance
I know
to
where
play
this
today,
is.
it's definitely
So I've been in
changed
this
my
room.
opinion on Tokon.
I think it's cool. It's easily digestible. You know, sometimes tag games can be a little wacky, but you know, the slowdowns in terms of like switching them to characters, like you can actually see it. You can actually use
Capcom
it as
don't
a
want to
feat
join
if you
in.
really want
I'm
to.
happy
Just
they're doing
like
better
throwing
than just the
opponents
Capcom
away. Definitely
shit.
gives it a new fresh
The
look in
Maker?
terms of tag.
Oh shit, they probably will do the Maker. Well, we don't know where the Fantastic Four are, so they're gonna do some crazy shit. Because why is there a global threat like this if Fantastic Four are just missing?
理由はいくつかあるんですけども、一つがやはり過去のマーベル格闘がチーム戦であったことっていうのは影響としてやはり大きかったです。でもう一つがマーベルのヒーローたち、ビアンも含めてなんですけども、やはり映画にせよコミックスにせよ、チームアップしてどんどん強くなっていって強大な敵を打ち果たす、打ち倒すっていうところに
whatever her name is, the fucking host.
が多いなと。まあ一人
I'm pretty sure she's stronger than the champion.
みんなでチームでやっぱり戦って、
So they're not just gonna end this story there.
というところを格闘ゲームに落とし込む。それがやっぱりマーベルの世界観を格闘ゲームにするときにやはりすごくマッチングがいいなというところで。
最初から4人を使いこなすっていうのはまあとても難しい。
Four characters out there getting incredible one to establish a learning curve. For players to get comfortable by only one of them. If you do that, you will get cooked though. You will be getting cooked though.
プレイする人に対してはスタートアップバトルやバトルガイド、キャラクターレッスンといったオンボーディングももちろん充実しますけど、ゲームデザイン
At higher level, you will get cooked by people that are switching 24/7.
をよりハイリー
Because, like, what if the character you're playing is not even that good point, and also you're not gonna get that much mix. Some characters don't have that much mix solo.
安いものに
Like Blades makes his pretty buns if you don't switch. That's just how it is. Unless you do like what, empty jump low, throw boomerang assist cross up, I guess. But that stuff is not, it's not that good.
よというところをすごい意識して今回作って
Did you do a character tier list? What do you mean? Like strength or prediction? You want a prediction? Let's do a prediction. I don't do a theme tier list. We haven't heard everyone's theme yet.
それで例えばもうちょっと上手くなりたいとかっていう気持ちが出てきてとかいろいろ対戦を繰り返しているうちにキャラクター対策を立てなきゃって言った時にじゃあ交代を使ってみようかとかまずは一人のキャラクターを使って気兼ねなく遊んでほしいなというふうには思ってます。
キャラクターのですね、ロスターのキャラクターまずは誰を入れようかというふうに考えた時に、そもそもまず4人でチームを作っていくので。
I want a Tokon prediction tier list. Sure, bro. We can do that. Let's see. How's the want list? Oops. It's a prediction. It's not everybody in the game. I need one with like everyone in the game. 20 characters. Here it is. W. Get out is crazy. There's a prediction, right? Okay. Buns. Thanos. I don't think I need a C tier or D tier. It's only 20 characters. I don't think there's anyone that bad, but this is just a prediction, so we'd have to wait and see. There's anyone that bad. Will I need a C tier? Fuck it, I'll make one. I'll just make one for the sake of it. Sure, bro. I'll do it after the video.
やればそれぞれのチームにリーダーは絶対必要だよねというところからピックアップされたキャラクターの中でこのキャラクターだったらこういうコンセプトでこういうお話の中核にいるリーダーにふさわしいんじゃないかというところで今5チームの5人のリーダーが選ばれていきました。
So the DLCs won't be teams, they'll just be individual characters, not from teams or nothing. Or maybe they'll get added to teams, but I doubt it. Because I mean, we have Phoenix Cyclops, he's not part of no fucking team.
結構ゴーストライダーというキャラクターが性格的にリーダー的にどうなんだろうっていうのは結構話としてはあったんですけど、ここは逆にあえて彼がそういったところを成長の中で描きたいねという話でゴーストライダーをリーダーに選ぶということになりました。
So they were saying they were wondering if Spider-Man would be a good leader. I mean, Ghost Rider, my bad. Ghost Rider would be a good leader because they debated his personality truly fit that of a leader. Better like, fuck it, let's just give him a chance.
The current roster is actually crazy. Since I read so many comics and I know they have this leader mechanic, that to me is something that I'm trying to pay attention to because I'm thinking of theoreticals, you know? And the fact that they have like these teams where they still do have the rapport and they are talking to each other. Like when they come in, they actually have conversations with each other. It makes it seem like an actual team, like working together.
Spider-Man's definitely a leader, he is. More of a leader than anyone else on that team.
The fighting game is actually really cool. Star-Lord is another character that I was like instantly, hey, let me check this character out.
Well, I guess Star-Lord could be.
Mechanic, and it really does make you build your own kind of offense. You want to see what kind of combos you can do. And then you add in the assist, right? And then even more so, you have characters like Iron Man, who has like the multiple missiles. He's got the movement. How do you use him when it comes to somebody like Captain America back there bouncing his shield? I think they did a really good job. The way Wolverine plays, they call each other the X-Men, you know, the unbreakable X-Men. Like those kinds of things really sell the roster.
Not just X-Men,
because
unbreakable.
I feel like there's a lot of love going into it.
But so far, in terms of the roster that we have right now, it's pretty cool. I like the fact that Storm is the leader of the X-Men, so that kind of gives you a different look, like, what happened to everybody else? Like, why is she the leader? So, like, it always keeps me guessing.
Battle load initiated.
My nerfs, it's the guy nerfs tonight. The buffs, wait, whoa, wait. My non-nerfs and mine, got buffs. I'm down, hold on. I believe she's fighting a while, it's gonna be fun.
独特なところがですね、そのポジションもバトル中に入れ替えれるというか、メインのポイントキャラクターがメインのキャラクター交代したら 今度はその元々ポイントだったキャラクターがユニークなアシストになる。
Yeah, you gotta remember that you switch slots with whoever you're switching with.
結構そのアクティブにアシストの内容を変えれるっていうのはあるので、自分の好みのキャラクターをもちろん選ぶんですけれども、順番とかはやり込み始めていくとだんだんこう。
Oh, let's watch that dev set with Goichi and he fought a dev or something like that.
だいぶそこは自由度が今高い状態なので。
The tag system in general is very unique. I
don't know who has the footage of that. It might be on Goichi's channel. He fought a dev that was playing Iron Man.
At least 2
Is that on? Where's the full footage of that?
Even wanted to play the game. With this game,
is that on his channel?
I can start with one character. I can learn the assist system.
And
what's really cool about this is that where you choose a character is like their order matters as well, because that changes what type of assist you can use. I think that's really cool. I don't think any other game has done that before. I can already see on
this game has unique features. It's not just a tag game.
So I just think
it's not just tag slop.
With the system that they built, and I can at least start with
a
very good point character. Like to me, I started playing with Magic. I actually think Spider-Man's a really good point character too. Now that I've had a chance to play him,
Iron Man
assist,
point.
Doom assist, yeah. The possibilities are endless.
I was looking at some disgusting Spider-Man shit the other day.
Make the characters, like how can they put them together? So if I want to play Wolverine and Storm together, do I put Storm on point because she's obviously the one I want to play, or do I make her as an assist? With the characters that they have, they do a great job, especially with like characters that I didn't expect to be in the game, like Danger or Penny Parker. With how tag games work,
I'd have to find it. It was some pretty good mix.
Many different archetypes and different playstyles depending on kind of the characters and teams you form.
Avengers, assemble!
基本的に自分も最初から複数のキャラクターを覚えるのはちょっと辛いなみたいな気持ちがあったので、最初にまず一人で完結できるように作ろうっていうのはもう先ほどから言ってるんですけど、一人でも遊べるタッグゲームっていうところをテーマにやっているので、自分と一人のキャラクターでアシストを使いこなせばちゃんと戦えるようにも作っていますし、
I don't think Hulk's gonna be a grappler, that's for sure.
絶対に交代しなきゃいけないっていうデザインではない。
Hulk smash, not grapple.
3人使いこなすのが自由だっていう話もたまに出るんですけど、それは逆に自由じゃなくて、一人でもいいし4人でもいいし、2人でもいいのが真の自由であるべきっていうふうに思っているので、ゲームのデザインとしてはいろんなその技を入れた方がダメージが上がるといった要素とかも入れてるので、アシストをいっぱい使うとかそういうのはキャラクターの上達の要素にはしています。
Some of the bigger characters, specifically like Penny Parker now, even though she takes up a large part of the screen, using the
Universal Champion maybe if he's playable.
Have a strong sense.
I don't know if that Wizard girl or whatever is playable.
Especially if you keep in mind how the assist works.
I feel like everybody in the cover art's playable.
Life changes where they'll give you the
so actually breaking 22 characters and launch on 20.
You can actually tag now. When that comes to like holding the screen kind of like hostage,
I gotta like beat the story for both of them or some shit.
Now can actually call different air assists while you're in the air, the wall slump, the way that works, and using all those kind of in conjunction with each other really do make the game super fun. I mean, I always forget like that I'm on one bar because I'm so focused on trying to work my team in unison and not always tag out. So it's a good problem to have. You got a lot of options.
Very clear that the devs have put a lot of passion, a lot of research into it, and it makes me excited as a fan. Like, oh my gosh, you get your own title when you choose a different team. To me, I naturally chose X-Men, right? But I think it's really cool that I could throw in Avengers if I wanted to. I know there's a universe somewhere where the X-Men even team up with the Avengers to fight against the villains, right? So I could put Captain America on my team. I could put Spider-Man with the mutants, and I think it'll still work out. I think the way that the system's been built, the possibilities of how you want to play this game just go up exponentially.
Game is so beautiful,
man.
I
jump between the lines, playing very defensively or very offensively.
That shit is something serious, bro.
Tokon kind of caters to me in that way. With this,
we don't joke around. We say that the Arx's touch is glaze, but it's rightful glaze. The Arx's touch is something serious.
市場としてしっかりとしたタイトルを作っていくっていうのは当然目標として大事に掲げていました。一方でやはり格闘ゲームかつマーベルのファンの方で格闘ゲームあまりやられない方って非常に多いと思うんで、そういった方がやっぱり触った時に自分の好きなキャラクターを面白い好きなキャラクターを自由自在に動かせる。
Yeah, it's just direction and skill button. I mean, that's it. Heavy versus the EX, light versus the light, medium versus the medium. It's just easy to pick up. Like if I were to pick up my PS5 controller and I would start playing this shit, I could easily start doing that shit. The only issue is my movement would be ass. My movement would be ass and my muscle memory because I don't play on a regular controller, but like
まあアークの
I can make shit shake. Except I play for like a stream or two.
まあアクションレボリューションチャレンジっていう必ずちょっと違うことをしてみようとか今までにない格闘ゲームの表現だったり戦う形式だったりとかできる限りのチャレンジをしようっていう中で
It's the Red Arxis room.
もう一緒に
I feel like I fall asleep in there.
ファイティングゲームコミュニティとちょっと一緒に
The
レボ
lighting
リュー
is
シ
so
ョンして
low.
いこうみたいな感じでははいあります。
So go max
I
rank
know
on
they had
console.
feedback from closed beta 2.
I'd have to buy Tokon on console. That's $60. Oh hell no.
Combos now the
The
variety
sub
of
goal would have
combos,
to be
how it
beyond
looks, it looks
beyond
completely different, and it also helps you strategize
price to make it a net
on what
positive still.
team you really want to build. Another cool thing,
Does sound fun,
the
though.
tag button. With the tag button and how much faster it is to like active tag the other character, it made me experiment switching like second character, third character. It just flowed a lot better. And also cross-ups. Cross-ups are so fun now. Like it feels like it's just instant when you do an air dash for a cross-up. So
Maybe we can
I think
do it.
they
We'll
did a
see.
great job of just like maneuvering the characters and not like having characters just with moves.
マーベルユニバースの中で新しい
This Sabaton's been going on for so fucking long. That's crazy.
かなり力を入れて
I did not think Sabaton was gonna go on for this long.
一人で遊んでも全然
We are on the second of the next month.
ので
We're still
その
here.
対戦を必ずしなきゃいけないという
Kinda
わけじゃ
bonkers.
ないんです。その全てにおいて自由だと思っているので、まあもちろん
It's gonna consume my life in
のが
August.
一番嬉しい。
Bro, I'm about to play the shot. This and Rivals, bro. This is like all I'm gonna play.
出してきてるその
Other than I guess like the variety that we do sometimes
からゲ
and
ームプ
effort
レイが
plays.
全てに至るところまでどんな
I'm literally just gonna play Rivals and Tokon every
いい
stream.
んでとにかく自由に遊んで楽しんでもらえるっていうのが
Like these two,
まあ自分としては一番
Rivals and Tokon guaranteed every stream, but like
思っています。
I originally played
I don't know what
the
order
game
I'm gonna do.
maybe a year ago.
Some days
at
I'm gonna start with
last year's
Tokon, some
Evo
days I'm gonna
USA,
start with Rivals.
And I got to play just a little bit.
all
Already
I
super
fucking
excited
play
about
is
the game,
Rivals, I mean
but
Marvel
ever
games,
since then,
bro.
they made a lot of
How did
changes
this
to the way the
happen?
assist system works.
How did I go from playing anime games to now I'm just playing only Marvel games? I mean, this is an anime game, low key. Like this is Arx. This is a fucking anime fighter of Doom. It's like this is an anime fighter, but still, all I play is Marvel now. All I know is Marvel. Holy shit! I know it was a sick ass IP, so like I'm not complaining about it.
Assist, as well as just quality of life changes, being able to play the game a lot more seamlessly. To
Bro,
me, it's
why can't DC, bro? Why can't we get 2 cakes? Why can't DC hit like this? Why? Come on, man. What are they doing over there, bro? Please, man. What, Dicko? No, I'm not hyped for no Dicko. What the fuck? Log in. Log the fuck in.
become a perfect kind of like sandwich of everything for like fighting games, and it's still fun. And now I got to play the new characters because I didn't get to play Ghost Rider or Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and Spider-Man feeling like actual Spider-Man is a big thing to me. Nailed it, and he's gonna be on my team 100%.
Dicko, bro. Actually fumbled, bro. One of my favorite characters, and he's just not in the fucking game. Insane, bro. Wow. Just wow. Yeah, where's that set at? Where's that set at with Goichi playing that Iron Man dove? I found the tweet, but this is only a minute long. I have to go to Goichi's channel, don't I? Okay. What date is this though? I don't know. I don't know what date this is. Oh, it's probably his last stream. Give me a second. It's gonna take me like a little minute to find. What is the dev's name? Tokon player. Okay, nice. Thank you. Very helpful. Very helpful info. Very, very helpful info. He's D rank. Hey, you're D rank? Wait, this is looking hopeless. Did he delete the bot? Is this the wrong bot? That's gotta be this one. This is the only other VOD up here. Yeah, this is the only other VOD up here. It's gotta be this one. I just don't know where the match is. I gotta cross-reference this shit. Give me a second.
届いた後、技がない
Was the devs named Deadass Tokon player? Were these devs using share mode? Like, come on, bro. Why are we hiding? DC don't give a fuck about no games, bro.
Hey! Oi!
It is the stream mode bullshit. I didn't use it because I don't care if people see my name. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, god damn it. D3. D3 higher or lower in this game? Is it going up or is it supposed to be going down? Some games do it downward and some games do it upwards. I don't know. Going up? Okay, well, let me skip to that. Found it. Aha! The end of the VOD. Boom. Haha.
Tokon player.
I'm gonna go 2 hours in. Holy shit. Wait, so the dev is playing Spider-Man, Wolverine, Cap, and Iron Man.
あ、これか言うてたの。強いなこれ。色も強いもんな。
What the fuck? You can do that? What's up, duos?
あ、これか言うてたの。強いなこれ。
Heavy. What?
色も強い。
Medium and okay. I didn't know you could do that.
待って待って待って待って待って待ってめっちゃ強いめっちゃ強い待って
Damn, oh that man's getting cooked.
やばいめっちゃ強い待ってめっちゃ強い待ってめっちゃ強い
Very smart to use the
めっちゃ強いめっちゃ強いめっちゃ強い
Oh shit, he dead as fuck. It's very smart to use the assist before like you get the wall splat so you get the green part back. Because if you didn't know, assists take green stuff in this game. But if you wall splat someone, you get another green bar back.
やばいめっちゃ強い待ってめっちゃ強い
And you unlock a new bar, of course. Since, get another character.
めっちゃ強いめっちゃ強い
You overrated it again. Dude, you overrated 3 times in a row. That Spider-Man over its fast, but come on, bro.
ちょっと待って中段がわからん
It's gonna be a quick match. You know that? Yeah, you're supposed to use your assist mid combo before you get to the wall splat. So that you get another green thing back. So technically, you can use this assist 4 times in a combo. Well, not 4, but like 3. But you get like a longer combo with whatever character your point is. Oh shit! That did so much fucking damage. EX. EX. Wolverine. Switches to Wolverine while puppeting Spider-Man to do his webs. DP, dive. Iron Man. Boosto. Combo timeout. Damn. Oh my god, that did 50k. Tagging is a must. Tagging is indeed a must. Makes your combos longer. You get more, you unlock more characters. And if you unlock more characters, you get more max health. You don't want to just not switch characters in this game. Oh, damn. Bro, double perfect is crazy. How do people know this was a dev? I mean, from what I'm looking at, he double perfect. Goichi has got to be a dev. But I don't think he'd be a rocket scientist to know. This is a dev. Man, neutral finna be insane. Overhead again. Yeah, this is Spider-Man overhead. Paying dividends, bro. Oh, that was like a rejump. I didn't know you could do that. That shit looks sick if you did get it off. What's up, Simon? What the fuck? Overhead again. Yo, Spider-Man's an overhead merchant. Wait again. What the hell? He dropped the combo. What the fuck was that? He definitely could have killed there. He's hella muted too. He definitely could have killed.
Oh my.
Damn. Double perfect. Oof. 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 Oh no. Goichi, no. I don't think the one shit should kill you either, because you can't grab it. Lows don't beat it. But for it to kill you, I think you need to spend green shit, because your assist character has to come out. But regardless, I don't think that shit should kill you anyway. That mechanic is so G's. Overhead. Spider-Man overhead be getting people. It's the mental stack, man, because you're going low so many times and he just overheads you. What is this damage? Oh my god. Overhead again! Yo, this move is... Yo, this move gotta be broken. If it's working on Goichi this many times, this overhead has gotta be broken if this is working on Goichi, of all people, this many times, bro. If it'll hit Goichi, it'll hit you. Oh, nah. Spider-Man ZT? Oh, we get to combo off that. Let me see that again. Oh, that was a sniper doom. Webs, and then he switches. That assist is so good. Well, I mean, that's also his forward assist, but move is so good. Jesus Christ. It was Iron Man's putting belt to ass. God damn. Oh my god. Is this another perfect? Iron Man's putting belt to ass. Okay. Whew. That's blocked. Overhead's blocked. Nice. Is the overhead unsafe at least? Or is it just dead ass just safe? It might just be safe. I mean, he can special cancel it even if it wasn't safe. It's plus? Oh, that's bonkers. Overhead again. Oh no, it's he went low. Ooh, God. Spider-Man has such good high-low mix. And he has good left-right mix too. Left-right though, he need assist for that. Oh my god, this Wolverine chip. Look at that block stream. Look at us. He went low. Wolverine. Oh my god, he calls in the missiles. All this block pressure. Went for grab. Nice tech. Beam. Nice. No. Oh, okay, that works. What? Does he keep getting input errors? The fuck? Why do you know this? What was that? That was a side switch? He keeps dropping it though, but EX. Oh, float in front of him for the cross up. For the side switch. You gotta do it stupid fast though, because it doesn't hit them for long. Nice. Okay. More games. Oh man, it's frying. Nice conversion. Beam assist.
Hey.
Oh my god, the cross up. Ooh. Oh, that conversion was so sick. But Wolverine's routes are so cool, man. The corner carry on that was nice. Low. Damn. Like, it's too much shit to block on Spider-Man, bro. That fast overhead, and then he has that low. Granted, if he wants the fast low, though, he has to EX it, though. So I feel like if Spider-Man doesn't have meter, it's probably best to just block high, but, like, it's just still the mental stack, bro. You go low so easily. Damn. Yeah, that was a dev. That dev was frying. That dev was frying. I don't think he fought him again. Yeah, that was 100% a dev. Sheesh. All right, all my predictions for it's gonna be good. Predictions. Let's see. Let's go in order. Storm. This Storm's gonna be A tier. Magic's pretty common. I'm gonna say she's gonna be S tier. I don't think she's gonna be that crazy. Danger. Very undiscovered character. I could see her being S tier. Wolf. Stubby normal. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be high. Spider-Man. I can see Spider-Man being really good. Or Z tier even. But he's hard to play. He's hard to play in like every game. Was it a video? That's Tokon's August assist. Did you buy Ultimate Edition? No, I didn't buy the Ultimate Edition. I didn't buy the game yet. I was watching a video. Oh, it was a dev match. Miss Marvel. Where do we put Miss Marvel? I put her A. Star-Lord. I'll put Star-Lord. Star-Lord's still really solid. I'll put A. Penny Parker. Put A. Cap. I don't think Cap's gonna be that crazy. I'll put B. Iron Man. This is a cis merchant. But I'm liking the Iron Man, so I'm gonna put S. Shuri. I'll put her S. Hulk. I have zero fucking clue, but I'm gonna just put him C. I'm gonna just say Hulk's gonna be ass. Ghost Rider. I'm gonna put Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is strong, but like if he whips a normal, he explodes. Since he has a lot of whip recovery since normals are so long. Put S. Blade. Put Blade A. Actually, we gotta downplay B. We'll maintain the agenda. Loki. I'm gonna just say Loki's gonna be Z tier. Deadpool. What do we think Deadpool's gonna be? Buns. I wanna say Deadpool's gonna be buns. Doctor Doom. I think Doctor Doom's gonna be S tier. I think he's really, Z tier. I think he's gonna be really good. Magneto. Put Magneto in A. Green Goblin. I'll put him Z tier. Carnage. I'm put Carnage B. This is my prediction. Trying to keep his character unnerved? What are you talking about? I wouldn't do that. Wave downplay already starting? What are you talking about? Blade is bad, bro. When you happy birthday someone, you have to like do a different route. You have to do a weaker route because it might hit the assist character when you throw the stake. What? Why y'all looking at me like I'm crazy, bro? I have footage of it. Where is it? Where is it? Found it. It auto aims? Yeah, but I'm talking about when it happy birthdays. Look. I had happy birthday here, right? I have Wolverine Cap in the combo. I do the EX, so he's gonna get sent rolling, right? He doesn't get sent rolling properly though. This shit's bugged, I guess. I throw my stake, it hits the Wolverine instead of the point character, which is Cap. And then my combo drops. Fucker, Wolverine, and then my combo drops and I'm exploding. I think Blade needs buffs. Don't let him downplay Blade. Bro, I think Blade needs buffs. Let's buff Blade. Wait, did you see my prediction? Did you just get here, Sage Jam? This is my prediction. My chat said put Blade in S. Nah, I put him beat. This is my prediction. Blade's legit Thanos? Nah. Pipe down. You're too loud. Too loud, Mr. Jam. You're too loud. You're too loud. You need your ass beat? You're too loud, bro. You're too loud. Quiet down a little bit. Quiet down. This is the prediction, bro, okay? Hush up, hush up, hush up. Anyways, I'm gonna say Loki is gonna be Z team. What has Hulk done to you? What has Hulk done to you? I think Hulk's gonna be C tier. Wait, did they drop a character guide today? Or are we getting trolled? Tokon. Oh, they didn't. Wait, what? The game comes out in like how many days? Wait, I thought we were gonna get the last 4. It's 3 days. Are we just not gonna get one? Or are they just gonna drop them all in like a big, gigantic, like what? Oh, okay. I mean, I guess we're gonna get one day of the launch. I guess or something. I don't know. Anyways, the next video, bro. What we got now? There's no guide. Did it show cap art? Yeah, I saw the cap art of Daisuke. I mean, from Daisuke. Whatever, it's all good. I had to look at this Phoenix Cyclops trailer again. This shit is sick.
Listen to me. You will do nothing but reduce everyone to ash.
No, I can control it for long enough to do what I have to.
This character's gonna be sick.
I will save mutant kind. The new age of the Phoenix begins now.
The new age of the Phoenix. Just what is he doing though? Like,
no, I can control it for long enough to do what I have to. I will save mutant kind.
What are we saving mutant kind from? Maybe some crazy shit happens after the end of story mode or something. I don't know. My guess is that like the Universal Champion gets cooked, and then that magician girl or whatever the fuck. I mean, I'm pretty sure she's stronger than him. Betrays him or something. She does some crazy shit. I don't know. I don't know. I want to know where the Fantastic Four is at. I wonder where they're at. Probably getting cooked or something. I don't know. Because no way there's a universal threat like this, and Fantastic Four is just missing. There's nowhere to be found. Some crazy shit must happen. Keep Solak is the only other X-Men in this trailer. Keep Solak is the only other X-Men in this trailer? Wait, what? Oh, in the background? Wait, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Listen to me.
I need Solak in the game. Oh, at the start right here? That's just the map though. Like the Iceman dude's right here.
But reduce everyone to
That's just the map, bro.
No, I can control it for long enough to do what I have to. I will save mutant kind.
Shit, I want to see gameplay so badly.
The new age of the Phoenix begins
Thunderbolts?
now.
I didn't even watch the Thunderbolts movie. Wasn't it good though? All they use is guns, right? What do they do? All they use is like guns and shit, right? That's all I heard about Thunderbolts. They just use guns and shit. That's all I know. They just use guns and Sentry and friends.